Sadly, there are plenty of shameless chess players out there who are gonna try to checkmate you within a couple moves with the Scoler's checkmate. I actually have to apologize because I promised you that video, that we're going to be brutal and merciless, and then show new ways to counter that, which are truly efficient. But they were not the most brutal way for you to do so, and I'm going to compensate for that today. I'll show you Vema's brutal way to absolutely demolish white who's trying this unsound attack against you. It all starts with white playing pawn to e4, and as you respond pawn to e5, they usually bring their queen all the way out to h5. And that's already the first little trick. If you wish to kick this queen away by playing pawn to g6, that is actually already a losing error, because after queen takes e5, they're gonna double attack your king and rook, winning the rook on the next move and winning the game. But that is more or less a clear thing to cover. You're gonna go knight to c6 to defend this pawn on e5. After that, they're gonna play bishop to c4, actually creating the checkmating threat of queen takes f7. You go pawn to g6, and now the queen goes back to f3. If you think about any chess tutorial covering this position, they all will recommend that you go knight to f6, including my previous video. But there is another way, which is actually a lot more aggressive, and also it's gonna shock white completely. That is the move pawn to f5 in this position, which looks completely absurd at first. Looks like you're just exposing your king all the way out, but in reality, you're having some really nasty counterattack here going your way. So, after pawn to f5, pretty much all your opponents will capture over here because they'll be hoping for you to recapture, which is gonna be, extremely dangerous. It's gonna lead to something similar to the Scoler's checkmate. Anyway, but you aren't going to do that. The counterattack starts right here with you going knight to d4. There are a couple of very good things that are going on for you. First of all, you're attacking this queen, and some of them may even blunder. They may even take over here and just blunder the queen. But regardless, your attack is very strong. So, you attack the queen, you're also attacking this pawn on c2, and from there your knight is going to attack the king and the rook. That's the fork, thus you're winning the rook and exposing their king. So, that's done with, right? Finally, if the queen moves away, you're always ready to push your pawn forward to d5 with tempo, attacking this bishop. Also unleashing your own bishop to jump over there and to capture this pawn, attacking these c2 pawns further. You can just see how quickly you roll out your counterattack on a seemingly empty space. It seems like you haven't done anything special, but you've got this really massive counterattack, and that's why I love this version so much. Now, after knight to d4, most of them will go queen to d5. Looks like white is nearly winning here, right? There's still this queen to f7 checkmating threat. Maybe even queen takes e5 still possible for white, but you simply play queen to e7 to prevent white from doing either of those two things, and now white's attack is officially over. I mean, they may trade here on g6, but that's the final thing, and that doesn't hurt you in any way. Moreover, it's actually good. Now we have this open rook on the semi-open file. Now they have to look at their own position and realize that there is this knight to c2 coming, forking the king and the rook. They have to counter that somehow. They'll usually play knight to a3, defending the pawn that way. After that, you just play knight to f6, and you start gaining a lot of tempo attacking this queen on d5. For example, right now there is just a single square available for the queen, which is not yet controlled by you. It's queen to a5. Fairly awkward. You can go pawn to b6 and attack the queen once again, pushing it all the way back, and now you have this bishop to b7. Move prepared by your previous move, pawn to b6. You can find this variation with a tempo, because now you're threatening to capture this pawn, and after that, to grab the rook in the corner of the board, which is also really annoying for white. Let's say they're playing knight to f3, you could take that knight, but you don't even have to. You may just castle, completing your development, and now, if you look at this position, you have basically finished your development, and white's position is a complete mess. It's even hard to suggest any good move for white at this point or any decent move at this point, because what are they going to do, really? Then, if they take over here, good. You recapture, and that's the discovered check, and you then pick up this queen over here on the next move. It's not gonna work for white. If instead they try castling, you're welcome. You already have this active rook over here, you can take here. Notice that you've got a bishop and it was attacking along this diagonal. They have to break up their pawns. And then you swing your queen over here, and you're gonna deliver a soon checkmate. So, either way, you're gonna win here very soon, while white is completely disorganized and you're fully mobilized. You have this crushing attack. Alright, that covers white trying to play queen to d5 in this position. You just play queen to e7, cover your position, and that starts a really massive counterattack in the following moves. This queen keeps dancing around, gaining you more and more tempo for your own attack. Now, let's take it back. Some of your opponents will realize that something's gone wrong and will try to play safe, and instead of playing forward, they're gonna go queen to d3, which is also a fairly popular move for white in this position. Trying to also hold on to this pawn on c2 so that you cannot capture it. Also, this queen supports white from, possibly capturing over here, and maybe then playing queen takes f6. So, they're still having some desperate hope for their attack, but you just play d5, and you shut it down completely. Now you're attacking this bishop, it's got to go back, and then you play bishop takes f5, attacking the queen once again. Also, you're still threatening this pawn on c2. This time, you're attacking it twice, so they're usually going queen to c3. Still trying to just keep their position well defended. Then you play knight to f6, combining development with yet another attack on their queen. After the potential knight to e4, that's quite annoying, so they're gonna play pawn to d3, so that you can't jump over there and attack their queen. Now, after that, what I recommend you doing is to keep attacking. Remember, we were going to be brutal, right? And punish white for trying this unsound attack against you. So, you're gonna play pawn to a5, threatening pawn to a4 to capture that bishop. And in some variations, you're even ready for the rook lift, something like rook a6 to rook c6, and keep chasing that queen that way. After a5, actually, the most played move by white here is their attempt to stop you from pushing forward by playing pawn to a4, which fails to bishop b4. All of a sudden, you're pinning and winning this queen, which I think is an absolutely worthwhile finish of your counterattack. They tried this unsound early queen attack, and you punish them by grabbing this queen at the end of the line. Thank you very much for watching, crush them all, and I'll talk to you soon.